The Rays have always been very strategic about how they do things because they know that they have a very low payroll. However, despite that, most of my life, they have been competitive. I have been to multiple playoff series. I have been to multiple World Series. I've experienced that in a short amount of time, which is great, on a low payroll. And hello, everyone. Not too much that has happened in the last week. A few talking points that I think are interesting, but nothing crazy like I've been predicting the last few weeks. I guess I kind of have to stop saying that because it's not happening. Now I've jinxed it for this upcoming week. But before I go on, I want to shout out Shopapalooza. It is at the Vinoy Park for Small Business Saturday, like today and tomorrow, Sunday. But by the time I post this, it should already be over. So my apologies. However, I got the cutest little sticker, and I just wanted to shout out this little company, Moonlight Sticker. I will pretty much buy anything that has a ray on it, even if it's just plain and simple. The other thing that I bought that was really cute, that's a ray, I bought it in North Carolina. It was like made out of recycled metal. And I saw a piece of artwork today that I wanted to get, but I was like, I need to update this thing behind me. Like this right here. Wait, can I get it's like cut off if you haven't noticed, or you have probably noticed and been like, I hope she fixes that. Yeah, I gotta fix that. That's from the song that I really, really like. Can I get a hand clap for the Tampa Bay Rays? I'm blanking on their names, but it's a YouTube song. Maybe I'll put it in here because it's super fun. And I wish with all my heart that they would make like a remix or like an updated one, but also it was just a time, it was an era, and they've probably moved on with their lives. But anyway, just cute little sticker that I plan to put on my iPad. So I have a few things I want to talk about. Some of them are really fun. Also, I am not watching the FSU UF game. I'm boycotting, if you will, the football team. I actually went to the basketball game yesterday. They were in Tampa. Absolute blowout. We got embarrassed, but I got moved courtside, and so I can't really complain sitting courtside. I mean, that's just so fun. But as far as football goes, honestly, thank you, Florida, from keeping us from having to sit through a bowl game. But I'm not watching. However, my phone is blowing up because my phone is blowing up because of how many people are texting me about it. I literally just got time to find a Christmas movie. But again, thank you for saving us from a bowl game. We'll take it. So first things first, I read this article on Sports Illustrated. If I see a headline, I pretty much click it because I just want to know all of the things about the Rays or like what people are saying about them. So they did release a Moneyball rankings, and to no surprise, your Tampa Bay Rays rank number 2 behind the Milwaukee Brewers. I find this so interesting, especially because I am on the MLB Fan Council, as I have talked about before, and our last meeting was kind of no, it absolutely was centered around parity and the payroll differences and revenue streams and all of those things. It's interesting to me on a couple levels. The first level, it's interesting because the Rays have always been very strategic about how they do things because they know that they have a very low payroll. However, despite that, most of my life, I'm, almost 30, they have been competitive. I have been to multiple playoff series. I have been to multiple World Series. I've experienced that in a short amount of time, which is great, on a low payroll. And you can get into the discussion, which I have, that at some point the efficiency and the mangling of the roster and all of those things eventually run out when you face a team. And I don't even want to throw the Dodgers out there, but at some point, you run into not getting over the hill. for obvious reasons. I think one of the things that we went over in our last MLB Fan Council meeting is that the 2015 Royals were the last, I don't even want to say small market, but I believe they had the 15th highest, or they were just over for payroll. That's the last time a team with a lower end payroll won the World Series, which was nearly over a decade ago at this point. All of that to be said, I try to be like, oh my God, it stinks we don't have the same revenue streams as these big top teams. But at the same time, I have actually got to witness and take part of really exciting competitive baseball despite that, right? So like that's one thing that I find to be very interesting. Another thing that's kind of interesting for me right now as a Rays fan is that this new ownership group has come out and said they have been very, I mean, honestly forthcoming with this information that probably the payroll is going to stay the same. It's going to hover around that $80 to $90 million range while they figure out the big ticket issue, which to me and to everyone else, I feel like that should be where they're going to play from 2029 and beyond. What's going to happen? That to me, like, that's such a big task that they're taking on, right? We've been trying for years and years and years to get this done. We get something signed, something terrible happen. Like, if they can get this done, for me personally, they buy me an extra couple of years in like taming my eagerness. So I am willing to accept that this payroll is going to have to stay put. I don't think that means that they won't be competitive, obviously, but I can understand why they're not jumping and making a huge jump to do something crazy and being increasing the payroll. So I can't really judge the whole payroll conversation right now because one, like I said, we've fielded a very low payroll and still been good. And also we're in this transition time. I can't point my finger or anything like that until the next chapter comes. However, we share a division that is starting, the Yankees obviously they spend money. They don't have a problem spending money. Are they spending as much as the Dodgers? No. Do I think that they're getting the value back of the money they're spending? No, but they're spending upwards of $200+ million on their payroll, which is quite significant. The Blue Jays, one thing we have to realize about this season's World Series was that it wasn't David versus Goliath, okay? The Blue Jays had the top 5 payroll in MLB. So they weren't going up there as this like scrawny little team. They've put money into their roster and it has worked out clearly. Vlad in and of itself, his monster contract worked out pretty well. But again, these other teams are within our division are hovering around big money rosters. We know this. So the Rays are going to have to continue to be strategic. Right now, I think the biggest value, and it comes to no surprise, is in Junior Caminero. So according to SI, he is worth $34.5 million based on his on-field production. He's 22 years old. He had an all-star season. He hit 45 home runs, and he is making league minimum salary. Obviously, the Rays are sitting on a gold mine with him. I've said this plenty of times. You have a guy so young on league minimum salary, and he's worth significantly more money than that. So you're going to buy a lot of value in terms of this payroll structure as of right now. The downside, though, in this particular season, 2025, was Ha-Seong Kim, who showed the opposite side of negative value. So the Rays ended up paying him just over $11 million for a 219 batting average, 2 home runs, and 93 plate appearances. I think I made a joke at one point that I had shown up more for the team than he had, but of course he was going through an injury and recovery, and I can't hold that too much against him. But anyway, obviously negative value, but thanks to Junior and his value, that helps a lot there. So once again, like I said, we're going to work through cheaper roster. Now, I think why this matters or why this intrigues me or why this caught my eye is because, it's the time of year where names like Brandon Lowe and Yandy Díaz are being thrown out as trade pieces. I firmly believe that if the Rays, and this is not rocket science, but if the Rays want to maintain the competitiveness that I'm talking about, they can't give up a Brandon Lowe. They can't give up a Yandy Díaz. Now, do I expect another 30 home run season from B. Lowe? Yandy was quiet but steady and good this season. I don't know, but you're not replacing them next season, right? You could get maybe some developing pieces for the future, but you're not replacing them. There's no obvious signs of replacing those two bats. So I bring this up just to say, like, again, you're going to see Bilal thrown around. You're going to see Yandy thrown around as pieces the Rays could get some value. They're strong bats. And I don't even know, like, same kind of thing with Yandy. I don't know how many other teams value him the way that we value him. So is he even worth, like, the same kind of trade piece? I'm not sure. But that's why I say I don't stress out about that, because it just seems like they're working with what they have. Why would you give up such a big piece of the pie? Anyway, that is my take on that article. Now, to something fun and super exciting. Back in August, Junior had posted a video from his baby shower, and they found out that they were having a girl. Super exciting. I don't know. This is fun to me. That night, or like, okay, so he had his baby. Don't judge me for how I know this, but this is what makes me me. He had his baby shower on the Saturday that got rescheduled because of the Bucks. Yes. Okay. Yeah. He had his baby shower that day. So then they come back to play on Sunday. Am I right? Yeah, because they played Thursday, Friday, Sunday. Okay. Had his baby shower on Saturday, finds out he's going to be a girl dad. How exciting. And that Sunday, I went to the game. I hope I'm tracking this right. Sorry. Went to the game. Immediately clock, my boy Junior has changed his walk-up song to Nokia by Drake, specifically the part that says baby girl a few times. And so I tweet, as I do, and I say, Junior has, oh, and not only that, he hits a grand slam. Then I tweet, he changes his at-bat song once he found out he's going to be a girl dad, to the baby girl, and he just hit a grand slam. I tweeted that out. Boom, send it out to the universe. You know me at Steinbrenner Field, I sat behind the dugout 90% of the time, the Rays dugout. That was my spot. I'm going to miss it severely back at the Trop, because I will not be affording to sit behind the dugout. But anyway, I'm behind the dugout, and Ryan Bass, shout out, turns around, saw my tweet, turns around and goes, "That's a really good pull." Like, I don't think anyone realized that. So I'm going to ask him about it post-game. He asked him about it post-game. Yes, that's why he changed his song, and announces that they are going to name the baby Valentina. So that was super exciting in August, and he hits a grand slam for his daughter that he's about to have. But this week, he officially became a girl dad, because his baby is here. And let me tell you, I'm going to insert pictures. The hair on this baby is to die for. It looks like it's wearing a black helmet. It is so thick and beautiful, and he seems obviously completely smitten with baby Valentina. He posted some pictures, and I don't know, I'm really excited for him and his wife. Super exciting, just like off season, and he kind of gets the time to spend with her in the off season for the next couple of months. So I'm kind of glad it worked out for him timing wise. All right, Jake Fraley. I believe I left this as a do the Rays sign him, or does he want to come back type situation. So when I look at it this way, it's even more funny at the signing of Jake Fraley. So he was drafted by the Rays way back when. He was then traded, then waived, and then non-tendered. That, like, he's been everything that I think you can be. You might have to check me on that, like, fact check me on that, but he's pretty much been everything that you can be for a player on a roster. And he was re-signed. He is now a Ray. He did sign, I believe, don't quote me on it. I believe it's a $3 million contract, which honestly, when I saw that number thrown out there, I was like, that's a little bit more than I expected. And not only that, he's a lefty. He is decent against right-handed pitching, which if you know anything about the Rays outfield offense, I guess, they need someone who can hit a righty. However, my main concern that I brought up last time, he has been on the IL a fair share of his career. However, I think it's maybe 400 grand is based off of how much playing time, like incentives that he gets. So that is good. However, so my last video or the video before is Jake Fraley like want to come back and actually be a Ray. And we found out the answer. Yes, he signed. However, now my question is that outfield is a little lefty heavy. So someone's getting moved, right? Like they're just not going to carry, and especially for the contract they gave him, they clearly believe in him, right? And that's good. Like you should believe in the people you have on your team. I'm not saying anything groundbreaking there, but that means someone has to be getting moved because you have too many lefty heavy bats in the outfield. So that's my question. That is my question. I will circle back and leave you with it. But for now, that's what I need. Who? Who is the question? And I'm not even going to speculate. I'll leave you with that and we'll circle back. We'll see if we get an answer in the next video. Okay, another kind of weird headline that came out, not weird, I guess weird. I don't know. Brandon Hyde joins the Rays front office. Brandon Hyde, where do you know that name? Former AL Manager of the Year. He led the Orioles to a rebuild in 2023, I believe it was, when they won the American League East. And then he was subsequently fired this year because the Orioles weren't anything to write home about. Also, which is funny because we ended up in like the same position as they did. However, he's got, a background in the Cubs front office. He's player development guy, all of those things. So I think they like him for maybe some insider information. American League East, obviously he knows it well. He also is a big development and game strategy guy. Yeah, they like that. I think it's like a senior advisor role. I don't know. That sounds right? Like, that sounds like it's the thing. Experienced voices, I'm not going to turn it down. Just interesting when I hear bringing in, like, an Oriole management member, if that makes sense. So, we'll see what happens. Another article that also caught my interest and something I kind of believe in, life after Pete Fairbanks. I went through this, very sad. Fans were upset. I was sad, but understandable. I understood the $11 million, huge number for the Rays to bank on a closer. And I understood the trade market. I went through that so many times with so many people who just like didn't believe me. But what you think I'm making that up? And I don't mean me, but you really can't believe that the Rays didn't know Pete Fairbanks's value on the trade market. I've said this many times. If anyone knew, the Rays knew. So anyway, trade market didn't cooperate. Rather spend the $1 million to buy out versus the $11 million. Now I've went through this before. This is just another article that I read, did not write, about the other relievers in the bullpen. Edwin Uceda. He honestly, once he got past those early season meltdowns, he was so strong. He was his 2024 self. I kind of believe that he can carry that through. I do. I've been watching his Instagram. He's working hard in the off season. He's back in the DR. I think he caught his groove, and I think he learned from whatever that meltdown was at the first half of the season. So I'm feeling pretty good about him, but I'm not sure what they'll do. I think closer by committee until it's like an obvious sign. Also, SI does shout out the fact that Griffin Jax is being rumored to be converted to a starter. I'm not sure if I've said this on here, but That is the rumor on the street. Pitching, typically, I'm going to trust what the Rays decide to do. So if that's the path forward they think for Griffin Jax, then okay. I don't know if he's your closer, though. Those are two very wide differences on what they do with him. Obviously, we love Clev, but I think he has to kind of stay in his mid-leverage role on the team. And Manny, okay, so Manny's going to be I think he'll be a huge boost to the bullpen. I'm not saying anything crazy there, but, you know, it's going to be interesting to see how his injury plays out next year. Is he back mid-season? It's really easy to say that, but, like, I get afraid just thinking, like, maybe he is. I don't know. All in all, I'm not too concerned. I'm more curious about what the bullpen looks like next year versus, like, being concerned about it. Some kind of sad news, but hopeful news with Xavier Isaac. So, oddly enough, over the summer, or maybe like early or like the end of the summer, he had posted on his Instagram a very crazy like post. He deleted it very quickly. No one said anything about it. Like, I saw it was up for not very long. Like, I'm talking maybe 10 minutes. It was not up very long. But kind of waited to see, well, one, notice that he took it down because when I tried to show it to like a friend, it was already gone. However, it seemed that there was a reason why it wasn't being posted. And obviously, that's just like not, to me, that's not something anyone wants to break as a story. And more so, we were all confused. Like, what? Like, what? What do you mean? Anything brain related and just crazy health scare like that is, I mean, not anything anyone really has any knowledge about. But he ended up posting this week and like keeping the posts up and just kind of announcing again. I think he maybe was still in the midst of things when he posted it the first time. So posting it this time, I think he kind of went through it and he's hopefully out on the other end of it, which is kind of what he said. So he said he felt dehydrated in July. They did a routine scan on his head, on his brain, and that led to emergency brain surgery. And you can even see like there's a huge cut that goes across the top of his head. So obviously his season was ended. I mean, what the heck? But he's announced that he's fully recovered. He's been recently at the hitting camp in Port Charlotte, and he is expected to be ready for spring. Now, this kind of comeback and crazy situation could define his career and his career arc. And hopefully it would be great to see him have a really great and successful spring, but just so crazy. He's so young and it could happen to any one of us. I mean, he's a professional athlete, right? He's a highly ranked prospect. He plays really good baseball. And next thing you know, he's getting a scan on his brain and having emergency brain surgery. Like, could happen to any of us. And it's really, really obviously nice to hear that he seems to be on the other side of it. And hopefully there will be no more setbacks and he can move forward with his career. So that is great to hear. It'll be really nice to see him come spring. Yeah, just crazy, crazy story. My only closing thoughts is the video. There you go. Of Junior Caminero going into the Trop for the first time. The Rays posted it this week, the first time since her roof's been put back on, and him calling it his house, chef's kiss. I truly, truly believe that the next few years at the Trop, believe it or not, are going to be a lot of fun just because, one, I think the energy of being back at the Trop is so exciting that will kind of live and grow for a while. But also just the ways in which the new ownership group has put in money to the Trop, which I know I'm like beating a dead horse. I've talked about this before, but I don't know. Like we haven't experienced this type of upgrade, I guess. Like I know they've upgraded the scoreboard and I know that they've upgraded and different things like that over time, the padding, the turf here and there, things like that, which are great. And I'm not talking bad about that. But the fact that they're putting money back into the seats and fan experience, Mr. Ken Babby is what I am, as a fan, most excited for. Him coming out to Fergs, him just having this background in fan experience. It's something that I don't personally feel like we've experienced at all before. So for me, that's fun and exciting and kind of puts the baseball separate. Obviously, I want a fun, competitive team, all of those things. But, actually caring about how the fans feel when they walk into the Trop, the things that they can do, the things that they can eat, the price in which they can do all of these things. I thought the Black Friday deal, which so sorry, it's already over, but I thought the deal about no fees and free parking was kind of great. I mean, everyone complains about fees. And honestly, parking can get a little bit expensive. Just different things like that make me excited to be back at the Trop. And I think and I hope that it is going to kind of snowball into whatever this next step is. I'm going to say this every video until it comes true. I'm hoping we get some information on the stadium like beginning of the year, maybe before spring training. Oh, also another thought that I did have today because I was at the pier when I got my little sticker. I this is this is not confirmed. This is solely Tampa Bay Tay thinking. I believe that it is my belief that Fan Fest will probably be at the pier again or somewhere, some park. One, I like it. I actually don't hate it. The weather's usually nice in February, so not for me to jinx it, but the weather's usually really nice. I kind of like it out there. I mean, we spend so much time indoors as Rays fans because of the Trop, which again, I'm excited to get back to. That's not a diss. I'm just saying it's a nice change of scenery to have the backdrop and all of those things. So one, I like when they have it there. And two, again, I believe, it is my belief that they're going to want to save the like ooh la la and unraveling and like first hit you moment for opening day. That's kind of what I want. I feel like I'm being a little selfish there. Like personally, if I was in charge, I would make everyone wait till opening day to walk back into the Trop or at least like a game environment. I would want everyone's time back at the Trop to be a game environment. So even if you didn't make it for opening day, any game that you go to, that would be like your first time back versus your first time back being for FanFest. And who even knows, like, it would even be ready February. Like, now I'm thinking about it, and like, that's probably not even in the cards anyway. But I just think it adds to the excitement of getting back into the Trop for a game. So, anyway, that's my take, and I was thinking about it today. The Trop looks great. I drove past her today, and all things are going. I've said this like every episode I've done, I'm sorry, but like things are okay. I have a lot of questions and I'm curious about what they'll do, but what else is new? What else is new? Anyway, my dad, my dad on my last episode, which I'm very thankful that he watches because I don't, I don't know. It's a lot of me rambling about things I already rambled about in person. So it's like it's like running it back from what you hear in person already. Anyway, he said that I didn't sign off on my last video. It just kind of like abruptly ended, which I feel like that's the TikTok watcher in me, viewer in me, is that a lot of videos kind of end like that on TikTok. But he's right. I should say goodbye. So with that, goodbye, everyone. And I will see you next week.